Well, the ancestors in my family were almost like friends. They weren't these far away beings that we honored them, we respected them, but there was something about them traveling along with us, and they traveled along with us through the natural world. And when I say the natural world, I'm talking about not just the physical trees and the physical water that we see, like in streams and seas and or any water at all, lakes. The ancestors were present in our lives in a much more special way, I suppose. We talked about them as if they just lived next door. I mean, that may sound strange, but that's how we talked to them. It didn't mean to say we didn't respect them, but we talked about them like that. And I was brought up with this. I was brought up with the idea of the Romani culture being almost like an everyday thing. So that was why it was a little odd when I related to other people who were non-Romani and realized that they were not actually thinking in the same way as I did. Now, it's good to point out also that there's a lot of humor in the Romani culture. So when we related to ancestors, there was a lot of humor involved as well. There was a lot of mimicking. Romanis are good at mimicking. So we thought, well, we must have got that from the ancestors. There was a lot of profound thinking, and we thought, well, we must have got that from the ancestors. Everything you ever thought you got from the ancestors. And it was the natural world that connected us. Now, when I say the natural world, people probably will be surprised maybe when I talk about the values of the natural world, because it's not just, as I say, a physical tree that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the values that that tree may give off to us. And the values of the tree is, well, a tree is steadfast. A tree cannot run. My great-grandfather always used to say that a tree can't run. A tree has to stand his or her ground and face whatever comes. And that gives you enormous strength. So if you can take that strength from the tree, I mean, a tree is chopped down. A tree can't do anything about it. If a tree is sitting there and somebody comes along with a chainsaw or an axe, then that's the end. So that very value, that strength, we used to feel was passed on to us. And it was the natural world that gave us these wonderful values. And we traveled on with those, and they were part of my upbringing. They were, as I often say, learning about the values and learning about the finer aspects of my culture was like doing the washing up. And that's not belittling it at all. That is saying how normal it was in everyday life. So therefore, when I traveled out into the world and I realized that people didn't think like this, I thought, that's a bit different, because we are very earthy people. We are very down-to-earth people. If you want to know what a real Romani gypsy is like, they're usually very down-to-earth, very earthy, very practical in a lot of ways. So when they are spiritual, they bring that spirituality into the practical and make it so that it's part of everyday life. It's all part of everyday life. And that is something that I think we really need to focus on today. We need more of that rather than less.